Hi, this is Munson with Munson Music. I'm going to talk about how you could play through a song called Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, originally by Carole King. But I'm kind of working off the Natalie Lungley version as kind of a request. And we're going to start off on a C major chord. And the way you play C major, first finger goes to the B string on the first fret, second finger goes to the D string on the second fret, and third finger goes to the A string on the third fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds a C major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And then from the C on our verses, we're going to be going to an A minor chord. And all you really have to do is kind of take the third finger and move it to the G string on the second fret. And if you strum the A string to the high E string, that sounds an A minor chord, and it sounds really, really sad. And then from the A minor, we're going to be going to a D minor chord. And when we play D minor, first finger goes to the high E on the first fret, the second finger on the G string, second fret, and then the third or the fourth finger on the B string on the third fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, then that sounds a D minor chord, and it sounds really sad. And then from the D minor, we're going to be going to a G major chord. And when we play G major, first finger goes to the A string on the second fret, second finger on the low E string on the third fret, and third finger on the high E string on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds a G major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. Now another G major you may want to think about is doing the third finger on the B string third fret, pinky on the high E string on the third fret. And that might actually make that change from the D minor to the G a little bit easier for you. You can have kind of the third finger as kind of an anchor. And then from there we go back to C major, and then A minor, and then we go to G major, and then we do another G major, but then we go to an E minor chord. When we play E minor, first finger stays on the A string second fret, second finger goes to the D string on the second fret, and if you strum all those together, that sounds an E minor chord, and it sounds really, really sad. And then from the E minor, we're going to be going to an A minor chord, and then we do another A minor, and then we go to D minor, and then we go to G major, and then we go back to C major, and another C major. Now, a lot of times with a song like this, though, to make it more interesting, I like using something called a strum pattern. And one of my favorite strum patterns for a four like this is called down, down, up, up, down, up. So you take the C and just try that a lot. You'd have down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up, down, down, up, down, up. So we try that through our verse chorus. We'd have C, down, down, up, E minor, down, down, up, D minor, down, down, up, G, down, down, C, down, down, A minor, down, down, G major, down, down, G, down, down, E minor, down, down, E minor, down, down, A minor, down, down, A minor, down, down, D minor, down, G, down, down, C, down, down, C, down, down. Now something else you may want to add to the song too is bass notes. And a lot of times on that first down of the down, down, up, down, up, you can throw in a bass note for the chord. So on the C, you'd have the A string for your bass. On the A minor, you'd have the A string for the bass. On the D minor, you'd have the D string for the bass. On the G, you'd have the low E string for the bass. Bass down, up, down. And on the E minor, we have the low E string for the bass. Bass down, up, down, up. So we try our verse chorus with basses. We'd have C with an A bass, down, up, down, up, A minor with an A bass, down, down, D minor with a D bass, down, down, G with a low E bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, up, A minor with an A bass, down, down, G with a low E bass, down, down, G with a low E bass, down, down, E minor with a low E bass, down, down, E minor with a low E bass, down, down, A minor with an A bass, down, down, A minor with an A bass, down, down, D minor with a D bass, down, down, G with a low E bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down. Now on the live cut, and the way that the guitar player for Natalie's kind of playing this is more fingerstyle. And what you can kind of do is kind of set up your fingers where your thumb becomes your bass player, and then your index finger could kind of have the job of playing the G string, middle finger goes to the B string, and the ring finger kind of has the job of playing the high E string. And I'm kind of cheating this slightly from what he's doing, but I think this is a little bit easier to kind of approach if you're just starting out. And you can do kind of a bass and then index middle kind of together to play the G and the B string together, and then kind of do a slap. So it's kind of bass, index, middle, slap, and then you could kind of come back in with the D string with the thumb, and then kind of do the ring finger on the high E string, and then do those at the same time, and then come back middle, index, middle, and kind of around that chord. So that last part, you kind of have the thumb and the ring together, and then middle, index, middle. So you'd have thumb, index, middle, slap, and then thumb, ring, middle, index, middle. Might be kind of a cool way to kind of work that. And you can basically do that on every chord actually. Your thumb just on the first note is kind of following your bass notes. So we tried it that way. We'd have the C, A minor, D minor with a D bass, G with Louis bass, C with an A bass, A minor with an A bass, G with a Louis bass, G with Louis bass, E minor with Louis bass, E minor with Louis bass, A minor with an A bass, A minor with an A bass, D minor with a D bass, G with Louis bass, C with an A bass, C with an A bass. And then from there, actually, after we kind of do our first two verses, then we'll be going into our bridge part. And on our bridge, we go to an F major chord. And one way to play the F major is a full bar on the first fret, second finger on the G string, second fret, third finger on the A string on the third fret, and the pinky on the D string on the third fret. And if you strum all those together, that sounds an F major chord, and it sounds really, really happy. And just starting out, a good substitute for that is something called F major 7, where you do your first finger on the B string first fret, second finger on the G string second fret, and third finger on the D string on the third fret. And if you strum the D string to the high E string, that sounds an F major 7, and it sounds really, really happy. Now in the video that I was watching, it looks like mad. It's kind of taking his first finger and barring over the E and the B string, using the third finger on the A string on the third fret and the pinky on the D string on the third fret. So you may want to kind of experiment with that too. It kind of leaves out the low E for the bass on that. And then from the F, then we're going to E minor, and then we do another E minor, and then we go back to F, and another F, and then C, C, and then an F, and another F, and then an E minor, E minor, A minor, A minor, G, and another G. So we could do that with just our down, down, up, down, up. And we have F, down, up, down, up, F, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, E minor, down, down, up, down, up, F, down, up, down, up, F, down, up, C, down, up, C, down, up, down, up, F, down, up, F, down, up, E minor, down, up, E minor, down, up, A minor, down, up, A minor, down, up, G, down, up, G, down, up. Or if we were going to add basses to that, your F bar would have the low E string for your bass, low E bass, down, up, down. On the F major 7, you'd have the D for your bass. And randomly, if you wanted to, you could even kind of use that A string on the third for the bass, if you're kind of digging on Matt's procedure. So if we tried our bridge with basses, we'd have F with the bass, down, down, F with the bass, down, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, F with low E bass, down, down, F with the bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, C with an A bass, down, down, F with the bass, down, down, F with the bass, down, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, E minor with low E bass, down, down, A minor with an A bass, down, down, A minor with an A bass, down, down, G with low E bass, down, down, G with low E bass, down, down. Or if you're digging on that fingerstyle idea, you could do that same kind of idea, kind of that bass, index, thumb, slap, and then the D and the E together, B, G, B. It's kind of that arpeggio. So if we tried it that way, we'd have our F, our last verse. So we'll be back at the C, A minor, D minor, G, C, A minor, G with low E bass, G with low E bass, E minor, E minor, A minor with an A bass, A minor with an A bass, D minor with a D bass, G with low E bass, C with an A bass, C with an A bass. And then from there, then we go into our outro. So we kind of have our D minor, G major, and then you may want to kind of do just kind of a down strum on that last C. But that's the basics of how you can strum through Will You Still Love Me Tomorrow, working off the Natalie Lungley version. So good luck!